Hi, I'm Susan from St. Louis. A lot has been said about John McCain's age and his ability to be our president. And I'd like to give my 2 cents on that because we're about in the same age bracket. I'm 69, my husband is 73. All of our friends, or most of our friends at least, are over 60. And we joke about our senior moments. That's when you can't think of the word you want or the point you want to make, or you get easily distracted. And so humor is one way we deal with that, and we can cope with it because it's not a pleasant experience. As Betty Davis said, getting old is not for sissies. We can do things like double booking. Okay, I know younger people do this too. But we can do it and actually plan to be in two places at once and not see the contradiction. It's almost like two sides of your brain don't talk to each other. It's just really different. Take my word for it. Or the other thing is, you go to say something and something else comes out. For example, do you remember when John McCain referred to the Soviet Union instead of Russia? Now, I know he knows there's no Soviet Union anymore, and there hasn't been since 1989. I know that. He knows that. But those words are stuck in our brains because we learned that 50 years ago. And through the whole Cold War, we heard about the Soviet Union, got to fight communism. And it's really hard to unlearn something that's been sticking in your brain for 50 years. Or he used the word Czechoslovakia, even though that country broke up into two parts a decade or more ago. I can understand how that comes out, even though he's thinking of something else. Or, for example, he mentioned the Iraq-Afghanistan border. Now, he knows those countries are 700 miles apart. There's no way they could have a border. But we've heard those words associated with each other for 7 years because of the wars. So when he tried to say Pakistan-Afghanistan border, which is a mouthful in itself, out came Iraq-Afghanistan. And I could see how that could happen very easily. I would have probably done the same thing. Or do you notice when he stares off into space when he's asked a question he's unprepared for? Oh boy, can I relate to that. Tell you what he's doing. It's kind of like a Google search. There's this database deep in his brain. If he could just locate the right file. Been there, done that, big time. Have you noticed how he pauses like this? I do that all the time. When you can't think of the word, I start humming. That's what I do. Instead of going, humming at least isn't quite that distracting. For example, the Cardinals won the World Series in 2006? I think so. I can understand why he does that. I graduated in 1961 with a 2.86 GPA out of 4. I was not a stellar student, never have been. I can relate to that. John McCain graduated 894th out of a class of 899 at the Naval Academy. He probably didn't have the rigorous Jesuit education I had, but I'm sure the Naval Academy curriculum was really tough. But think about it. Do you remember the people who graduated at the bottom of your class? Do you really want them to be president? I'd kind of like my president to be at least a little smarter than I am. I'm no Rhodes Scholar. He's not either. And there is something to be said for the wisdom that comes with aging or going through traumatic experiences. Anyone our age, John McCain and I, everyone who's lived this long has been through something traumatic in their lives. And there is a certain wisdom that comes from surviving. As far as his personal life, I read somewhere that he left his first wife, I think her name is Carol, but I'm not sure, because he liked Cindy better. I can relate to that. I can really relate to Carol's pain. When I sit around and envision the future for my children and grandchildren, it's getting harder and harder to even picture what the world's going to be like. Things are changing so fast. And I know I'm not going to be in charge. And it's kind of nice to be able to finally say, I don't have to have an opinion on everything. I don't have to save the world. There are all these great young people coming up that are so smart, so fast. They think fast. They communicate really fast. Have you noticed how they don't talk in full sentences anymore? Everything is kind of like shorthand. I think that comes from that texting thing they're doing. Their cell phones, Blackberries, or is it Blueberries? Whatever. Anyway, they are so quick. Oh, and have you seen how they can program a phone number into a cell phone so fast? It took me 3 years to remember the phone number of my cell phone. I had to tape it on the back of the phone. You know, you take a little masking tape and you... Oh, well, never mind. I digress. But that's why I really don't want a 72-year-old president.